Hey guys, how you doing? Just another update to my build. This is January, February, March now. I know the last one was December. I'm not real great at these videos. I'm still learning. Old fart. um, Intro to this is what I'm doing as in previous videos. Previous 2 videos or 3 videos. 3 videos now, I think. Converting a 20-foot shipping container into a livable space. It's a slow process, very slow process. How? Because I'm only going off my funds. My funds are very great, and the reason for it is to give me a bit more funds, reducing my costs, reducing my outspend, reducing my rentals, and having my own space. Why? Because I'm a grumpy old man. It's simply put, I'm not very tolerant of people and laziness anymore. Worked hard all my life. But anyway, besides that, I want my own space. I want to be able to say, I built this. I want somewhere to retire to, and this is the start. This is my experiment. Also working on the reason is that I want to see how much I can build one of these for cost. What I can recover, what I can bear new, what can I repurpose, what I can salvage, because we have and do a lot of waste in our society now. From cabinets to flooring to wall framing to insulation to roofing iron, cold room panels, to things that can be repurposed, reused. Things that can't be repurposed and reused are things that are highly dangerous if you use it in the wrong way, like electrical, gas, plumbing. Some people might say, oh no, you can get away with plumbing. I don't believe so. You don't know what contaminants you're bringing with you if you're reusing plumbing. And it's not that dear anymore. Electrical's not that dear anymore. But use a qualified electrician to do your work. Can't say without fail. Use a qualified electrician without fail. I'm not a builder. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a cabinet maker. I have spent many years in the fabrication industry and building industry, so I have picked up a lot of knowledge in regards to that. I know how to weld. I've got a background in welding. I hate it. I remember why I left it. Too many burn holes. Good jacket, but too many burn holes. The breakdown of this project. The container itself is a 20-foot standard container, so it's 8'6". An 8'6" does not give you the ceiling height internally to be classed as a residence or permanent residence, as building requirements require. Why did I use an 8'6" or 2.6 meters high container? Cost. For months I looked for high cubes, and they're all around the $2,000, $3,000 mark. Yeah, if I had $2,000, $3,000, it would have been a better investment, for the simple reason the time spent doing the modifications I needed to do. But in saying that, using the 20-footer, which only cost me $500 in the first place, plus transport, great company that transported it for me, Clayton's, no problem whatsoever, no hassles, no queries, paid for it, only didn't cost me over $200 to move it, which was brilliant. We had a lot of problems moving it. Rain, ground there where it was, soft, the owner of the property, and yeah, so there was a lot of rust. One of the other videos there shows where I had to cut the rust out, but that worked out well because one of the areas is where the door is, the other area is where the 2 windows have been put. Yes, the bottom of the plate has been re-welded, but I used material from where I cut out things to actually replate those. So there was no waste per se in repairs. I didn't have to go and buy more material and more steel to actually repair the rust holes. Cutting out, don't put up videos of cutting out. Everyone's seen how use a grinder to cut steel. One thing I will say, there's few videos out there where I've seen people use grinders in horrendous fashions. I have got a nice little scar on my arm there from a 5-inch grinder. Please, be bloody careful about how you're using them. They will kill you. If they break a disc, pull it off, throw it away. Don't try and use it. It's broken for a reason. You're using it wrong. I can't stipulate that more. Let the cutting disc do the work. Don't force the grinding disc through the steel. Let it cut its way. That's what it's called. It's a cutting disc. It's not called a force my way through disc. Anyway, that's my bit of yeah. Anyway, some horrendous videos out there. Replating, pretty simple. Overlap. Make sure that I made sure that the new piece of steel went in behind the top piece. Overlap. At least 2 centimeters of overlap welded inside and outside. Then I used a zinc oxide paint to paint over that. Could have used red oxide, pretty much the same thing, different colour. Anyway, the container was red and I didn't want any more red. Other paint I used is a Colgal paint in certain places, brushed on. Also had a spray can as well to force paint into areas, but mainly used a zinc based paint. Top coat. Now this was a tricky one because there's different paints out there. There's enamel paints, there's acrylic paints, there's oil based paints. Cost wise, a lot of them are very expensive, and they're expensive for a reason. They do a top quality job if they're put on properly, if you do your prep work properly. And I was lucky. I'm a bit of a scrounger. I like a good bargain when I can find it. So I ended up getting roof paint. Now it might be perfect for what I'm doing, but it served the purpose. But I made sure that I did a bit of research in regards to the roof paint, in regards to, did it need a primer? I was able to pick up a 15 litre drum of primer. Yes, it did need a primer. Top coat. Did it need a top? What's preparation needed for the top coat? Yeah, read up on that. Download the MSDSs for that paint. Find out what curing times, everything. Do research. And there is a lot of information out there on that web. Preparation of the surface. Oh, what a headache. Going over every nook and cranny with the wire brush, or the grinding wheel with the wire brush on it. Again, safety wear. Those wire brushes on the grinder will take an eye out. Believe me. I've got a pair of plastic safety glasses that I threw in the bin because they had one strand of wire right in the centre. Boop. Anyway, got a face shield now. Had a face shield. Yeah, had to get a new one. Anyway, PPE. Don't get me started on that. Heaps of videos out there. People laughing at people not wearing their PPE. I'm a perfect example of the old school. I wish there was a fair way of saying this, but learn to lift properly. I can't exaggerate that anymore. I've got good reasons for it. Learn to lift properly. Listen to the guidelines. Anyway, get off that. A couple of things I had to do, as I said, cut out window frames. There's a bit of video previous and cutting out the video frames. How I went about it, what I needed to do, what I needed to reinforce. I have seen videos where they cut the holes in the side of the container and slotted a window straight in. I wasn't real happy with that idea, so I've reinforced those openings, and it's worked out well for me. It gave me a solid structure to fit my my windows into, and my doors in behind me. My concern was where I was cutting the door out is a 2.4 metre wide gap, what it would do to the loading of the container. Luckily, I've got software where I can draw up these things or download the schematics or drawings themselves and actually preload them. So it gave me an idea of what I need to do. Also a background in boiler making as well. Helped me out. Okay, bit rusty, bit worried, but put all jacks in place. I made my own screw jacks up, jacked everything up, secured it, leveled it, and started cutting it out. I did do a test. I undid the screw jacks to see if, set up a string line to see how much deflection there would be in the floor, and I got 5 mil with the screw jacks released. So once I put back up again, this was after this opening here was cut out, there was flex. So what I did is screwed it back up so it was 5 mil curved in the peak. So when I welded my beams back in, and now I use 75 by 75 6 mil wall and welded them back in, and then in behind the wall here is actually 75 by 6 mil going from floor to the roof frame. Everything's tied together across the top, down sides, on the bottom, and back in underneath. Some people might say it's an overkill, but for me, needed to do it. Raising the roof, what a job, but I made money. I cut all the old skin off the roof. Now remember, this is only an 8'6" container, so I needed another 150 mil to give me comfortable clearance, to give my 2.4 from ceiling to floor. Now I was lucky I was able to pick up framework to do that, and I wanted it for a reason, because I didn't want to run all my electrics through the wall. I wanted them accessible. The container behind my workshop container, I've got a lot of my electrics running through the wall. So I have to be careful if I'm going to put up a wood rack, or I want to put up a pin somewhere to hold up a template, that I don't put a screw through electrical wiring. I know where the electrical wiring is, but it's always in the back of your mind. Yep, that's the right spot. Now all the wiring in that is in conduit. The wiring in this is actually, there's another video, it's all running up around the ceiling hub. And that's worked out well, because not only up on the ceiling, that extension, I've got my wiring for my 240 volt, I've got my wiring for my 12 volt. The backup lighting. I've also got my wiring for my speakers and my high definition cable and my speaker cables. Now they're all separated, of course, and that's why I've got that 150 mil. Planning the route, there's a video there showing where everything is wiring. Now those will have a cover over it that will be able to be removed, and if I need to do any updates, if the electrician needs to get in when he finalises the circuit box, he can inspect how the wire's been clipped up. He's already inspected it and he's made fun of me. So that's one thing. Cold room paneling is used, 75mm cold room paneling has been used as my ceiling. There will be a ceiling underneath that, again, to a skin, I should say, not a ceiling, but a skin over the cold room paneling. Once again, recycled. It's offcuts from a caravan project. I picked up 40 pieces, I should say, for 20 bucks. Top quality, veneered ply, 4mm, 4.5mm, what you call it. Vinyl coated. Looks good, looks quality. Yeah, would have been nicer, yeah, cheap cost wise, could have gone and got full sheets, but I didn't. Just different ideas. Anyway, each to their own. Ceiling, near that 2.4. Now that is up there, the remarkable difference in temperature inside the container. The walls itself, the insulation I've put in the walls alone, you can see some of that in the previous video, is acoustic firewall insulation. So not only do I get a sound deadening effect, but I also get the insulation and heat prevention, I suppose. Yes, once again, looked up the web, found out what the product was like, and then I've used, talking to a builder and asked the builder if it was possible to use the house wrap on the internal. His look on his face was, why? I said, well, I want that extra layer of insulation. He said, well, I can't see any problem, why not? So at the moment some of my walls are green. Anyway, once again, recycled. Leftovers from building, recycled. Framing, leftover from building, recycled. Remember one thing, if you're ever going to do skip bin dives and they're on building sites, I work on the principle, if they're inside a fence, don't go near them. If they're outside the fence, always ask. If there's a builder around the place, it mightn't be the builder actually, main contractor, ask. If they can't give you an answer, ask who you can see. There's too much theft. Too much theft on building sites. Builders are getting, I don't blame them. They're getting cranky. They lock their sites up now. Sites that are locked up and you can see stuff that is recoverable, go and see the builders through the working day. Don't turn up there at 5:30 in the evening and try and get through the gate. You'll get done for theft, and I hope you do. 9 out of 10 builders are quite happy to. You always have that one builder. Oh, I say no. 7 out of 10 builders will be happy to. You'll always have those builders say no. Reason being, public liability. You fall over, you hurt yourself, even if it's your dumb fault, there's a chance that they're worried that you will sue them for damages. So, workwear, PPE, you're on a building site. Just don't turn up in thongs and a pair of shorts and a tank top. Be prepared with the right equipment. That's whether you're salvaging or you're working. Can't stress it enough. Proper clothes and boots. Proper long ones, long arms, hat, gloves. Be accountable. Be accountable for your actions. Show that you're prepared to the person you're salvaging the material from, the building site or whatever, that you've actually prepared yourself to work. You're on a building site. Remember, you are on a registered legal building site. You are compiled by law to actually be dressed appropriately for that site. Anyway, that's my another rant. How about the roof? Well, the roof, getting back to where I was, sorry, a bit of floating around. The roof was recycled or second-hand cold room paneling. Very cheap. I got enough panels for the roof to cover the roof and make the ceiling for under $150. 75mm. Yeah, it's not in great shape, but I didn't want the great shape. I wanted a structure that was going to be sound, a structure that was sound, and then I've also used bridging pieces as well to give me more structure. These tie in with the roof framing, battens up there that hold the corrugated iron down. So everything ties together. There are large screws that go through the cold room paneling, through the extension, through a roof line and into the original container frame. Why? I wanted to make sure it was well tied together. Yeah, I could have welded everything, but what for? There's an airspace between the cold room paneling and the roofing line. There's vents along the eaves. So I'll show that. Get to show you that in another video. Next part of this will be, I'll just probably do a walk around the container and just show you bits and pieces of what I have done. But for now, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I do rabbit on. That's me. Have a good one, eh? Bye.